of a passage with multiple texts. Step 1 on a multiple text passage is to read the prompt. And the prompt is asking us for a difference in how the two texts are viewing the study that they're both talking about. Step 2 is going to be to go ahead and read the text in our own words. When we do this, we don't want to read every single word. We want to skip as many tiny details as we can, because the more details you get immersed into, the less main idea you're going to take away. Now looking into text 1, it discusses the study that has found that rewilding farmland is going to help with biodiversity and carbon emissions. It says that only a small amount of farmland needs to be rewilded, and that rewilding a tiny percent of farmland is going to have a huge impact. Text 2, on the other hand, says that although the data seems encouraging, it's important to consider the effect on food supplies. So in other words, text 1 is short-sighted. It goes on to say that there's a need to compensate for the loss of food-producing land, because the remaining farmland is going to have to yield more. And in other words, there's going to be more stress on the land that could have more of an adverse effect. So now step 3 is going to be to answer the question in our own words. So what was the difference between the two texts? Text 1 seemed to be more of a fan of the study and seemed to be believing the idea that only a small amount of rewilding is going to have a dramatic and wonderful impact. But text 2 was more cynical, pointing out that more things would need to be considered for the benefit of rewilding to be true. Step 4 is going to be to look through the answer choices. Answer choice A says that the author of text 2 says we should approach the findings with caution, while the author of text 1 is optimistic, and that sounds really good. Answer choice B says that text 2 identified too little farmland. But the main dispute was not about the amount of farmland. That was just mentioned in text 2 as an example of something that would need to be considered further. Now looking at answer choice C, this one says that text 2 says this can be achieved in the near future, but text 1 says it's not in the near future, and that just has absolutely nothing to do with how we described it in our own words. And answer choice D says that text 2 focuses on carbon emissions, while text 1 focuses on biodiversity. But that really wasn't true. They were both equally focused on emissions and biodiversity, just simply that text 2 seemed to say we should look a little bit deeper into some of the details than text 1 was willing to do. So the answer that matched what we were saying in our own words here is going to be answer choice A.